And we are live, it appears. Good morning, everybody. We are really honored to have you all at our virtual information session this morning on a wonderful, sunny South African day. Day 174 of the lockdown, but we had the good news last night that from Monday onwards we'll be moving into phase one. With all this bits of good news also coming in, we really trust that you are all here. And again, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence this morning as we share with you some information and highlight also engaging with some of our alumni. So very briefly, colleagues, let me run through the agenda for the session. I'll provide you with a very brief overview of Milpark Business School. In other words, kind of where we fit into the greater scheme of things. And then Dr. Asher will take over and discuss the admission requirements, take a bit of a shallow dig into the curriculum, and then also share some insights with you on our distance learning online platform that we are proud of. And the highlight, as we said, hearing from some of our alumni and students. So let's kick off then with the introduction of Milpark. Now, as you are all very aware, we are a private higher education institution, and we've been around for just over 20 years or so. And colleagues, we have 24 accredited qualifications, which ranges from the NQF 5 level right up to the N10 level, the entire spectrum, which also demonstrates our academic maturity and being on par with any other higher education in our wonderful country. We have campuses in Melville, that is the primary contact campus in our country. Then we also have a strong presence in Claremont in Cape Town. That's also where our head office is located. So I'll talk to you a little about now, located down in Cape Town. Then we also have in Western Durban. So let's take it high up. Milpark Education is part of Stadio Holdings, which currently consists of 6 subsidiaries, being AFDA, which is more in the film school, the arts. Then there's Embury, which is the teacher education college. There's Lysof, and then there's Southern Business School, and then of course ourselves and Prestige Academy. So those 6 entities are all owned by Stadio Holdings. As far as we are concerned, let's drill down a level deeper within the Milpark Education scenario. There are 5 schools. We have the college, and we have the School of Investment and Banking, that's niched in the banking sector with qualifications ranging up to the postgraduate level, as well as the School of Financial Planning and Insurance, also niched and focused on the financial planning sector. And there's the School of Commerce, where all our undergrad qualifications are housed. In other words, the Bachelor of Business Administration, the Bachelor of Commerce, and also the certificate, the high certificates from NQF level 5 to NQF level 7, that is within the School of Commerce. And then of course ourselves, your main interest for today, Milpark Business School. So what is it that we offer to the world out there? We have our highest qualification, which is the DBA, or the Doctor of Business Administration at NQF level 10. We have our crown jewel, which is the MBA at NQF level 9. We have the Postgraduate Diploma in Business Administration at NQF level 8. And then of course, like any good business school, we provide executive education, short courses, as well as faculty and adjunct faculty that engage in industry consulting. There are plans to expand on our postgraduate offerings, but we will tell you about that later on. Now, I think very important is just to give you a sense of our ethos. What is it that we get up to in the morning? What is it that excites us and inspires us? What is it what is our dominant logic? So simply is that we empower future leaders to pursue ethical and sustainable business practices informed by the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. And I'm sure that you all are very aware of them. There's less than 10 years to the objective of 2030 in achieving those 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and we have committed ourselves as an institution that we would also be part of driving for the achievement of those objectives. Now, this vision of ours, we've built that on what's known as the Greek term of phronesis. Now, directly translated or simply translated, it would mean practical wisdom. Because, I mean, what is wisdom if it's not practical and it really produces change? So it emphasizes not only the development of great business leaders, but leadership for the common good. And we've kind of hashtagged that, we wear our t-shirts with hashtag common good. So that's kind of give you a sense of what is it that really inspires us, and that finds its way into our curricula and syllabi. Now, very briefly, just to also brag a bit, I think it's important just to share with you our badging, and the very top one is, of course, our Amber accreditation. And we are very, very proud of having Amber accreditation for both our contact learning and online learning MBA. In fact, we are the only business school on the continent of Africa with the online learning MBA accredited by Amber, and we are very, very proud thereof. So in other words, we are actually the only school on the continent with Amber accreditation for both contact learning and online learning MBA. So just putting it out there, friends. We are, of course, also a member of the Association of African Business Schools, where we together pursue the agenda for our continent, the African agenda, and together, collaboratively, we are uplifting the management education space on our continent. Then we're also a member of the South African Business Schools Association, along with 19 other business schools, in which we frequently engage in our local management education scenario. And so I remember one of the colleagues a number of years ago coined the term co-opetition. So although we are in competition with one another in a sense, we do also cooperate for the again, if I may use the expression, for the common good of management education in South Africa. We're a member of the Graduate Business Association, or Business Graduates Association, which is also affiliated to AM. And of course, important to us, where we are located in Joburg, a member of the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry, really to ensure that interface with the industry is attained at all times. We are a signatory to PRIME, what we refer to, or the Principles of Responsible Management Education, which is a United Nations initiative. And every 2 years we also submit a report to them to demonstrate progress that we've made on the 6 principles. And I invite you to please also go and have a look at the website of PRIME. It's prime.org, where you will find all of the information. You also find Milpark Business School's presence there in all the member schools. And then, of course, maybe just to conclude there, PMR Africa annually does a survey amongst employers in South Africa with 19 criteria, where they ask these employers, how do the students or graduates and alumni that come from the MBAs in our country, how do they fare in terms of those 19 criteria? And for 2020, we are very proud that we have rated the number 2 business school providing an MBA in South Africa. So that, colleagues, in a nutshell, a little bit about ourselves, just to give you a sense of where we fit into things. And I'm now going to hand over to my esteemed colleague, Dr. Jane Usher, the head of department for postgraduate Studies, the MBA Director, to take you through the remainder of the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kobus. I appreciate that. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for taking the time out to spend a little bit of time with us. I'm going to chat to you about the admission requirements and briefly at the curriculum that we do, and we'd like to spend a little bit more time with our current student, Cruz Pariache. He's going to chat to you a little bit, and then Dale Peterson, who's one of our alumni, who's fairly recently completed his MBA, and they can give you a few insights on either what's happening, how they're managing, and how they did manage. So the admission requirements for the postgraduate diploma in business administration and your master's in business administration. We do tend to use so many acronyms, so I thought I would not use it in the beginning today. So your postgraduate diploma in business administration, your PGDBA, and your master's in business administration, your MBA. There are a few things that are in common with both of them because they are postgraduate qualifications. The one thing is you need to have reliable internet access. You really do need that. You need to be fairly computer and internet literate because you do a lot of your work online. You upload assignments, you do research. So that is a foundation expectation for both qualifications. Then for your postgrad, you need to have a recognized bachelor's degree or equivalent. So it needs to be an NQF level 7 because you're moving into level 8. For your master's, you need to have a recognized honors degree or postgraduate degree, which would be an NQF level 8. So what we've done is if you complete your postgrad with us, you can articulate directly into the MBA. And we have designed it so that you get specific exemptions onto your MBA, and I'll explain a little bit further about that. Then for both qualifications, they're both delivered in English, so you need to be proficient in English, be able to write, express yourselves in English. We do have an assessment test, and at the moment we are doing it online, and it's through a company called TTS. You do certain assessments, and they give you reports on where your strong points are and where your not so strong points are, and that helps you get an understanding on how you can capitalize on your strengths and then perhaps work a little bit more on areas that you need to. Right, that's it for your postgrad. So we move on to the MBA, and here we say, please, you need to be 25 years or older. And the reason for that is because of the type of way we teach in the linking theory to practice, you need to have work experience. So you need to be able to engage with your classmates to make meaningful contributions to the discussions that you have, and then you apply everything that you do from theory into practice into your organization. So it's really hands-on. Once you start learning concepts, you are expected to be able to apply them there and then. So we say minimum 4 years relevant work experience. We need a copy of your CV just to see what you've done. And this is one of the requirements as well for Amber. They have a look at each student that comes in. So we have a template for you to put your CV in. Then we also want to know, why do you want to do an MBA? What is your motivation for doing this? So we get a sense of your goals and your reasoning for enrolling in this qualification. And then you also have an interview with one of the program managers, and especially at the moment, it would be online. And the program managers take you through a detailed overview of exactly what you need to do when, in terms of your subjects. They get to know you a bit to find out your structures, your support structures from a work, family, your commitment, so that they can guide you and make sure and help you to be successful in the program. Then, so once you're in and you registered, we have you move on to your curriculum. And the program has been structured in such a way. You'll see that there's something in red, which, don't be alarmed, it's not a warning sign, but we have areas that are in common, subjects that are in common for both of the qualifications. You would start off with general management environment to give you a foundation, a general understanding of all the facets that you need to understand in management or in running an organization. So it's from marketing to people management, ops, finance, so that you have a good basis. Then I'm sure, know that business ethics is really important in corporate governance. And again, it's to give you the models, the understanding as to what is business ethics, how do you make sure you comply and more with corporate governance areas so that you work in an ethical and sustainable manner. You do social responsibility and environmental management. Now, this is an awesome module. It's fairly tough in that it can be an emotional module because you need to work with charities of your choice in a group, and you go in and you consult to them. So you help them with the running of their business. You find out what they do need, what they in terms of being more effective and efficient, and then you partner with an organization. And there, it's group work. So you've got group work dynamics, and we all work as part of teams in our day-to-day work environments. And this starts highlighting ways for you to make sure that you're successful as part of a team. And then at the end, you do a report on your charity, and you do a presentation to a panel, and that is then judged, and we have the group that is deemed has done the best work. The charity then is awarded a prize. Management, accounting, and finance, you see, is in red, but the only reason it is in red is because it's to highlight that if you have not done financial management at an undergrad level, or you've never worked in it, we need you to do an introduction to financial management before you can do your math, your management, accounting, and finance. It's to give you the foundation, the terminology, the language that is used in this area within business. If you don't have that, it's very difficult for you to be successful there. So it would be like if we suddenly expected you to write an exam in Greek or Russian. It's a similar thing. It's also highlighted there because that is one of the modules from the postgrad that you would get exemption to on your MBA when you move along. I'll explain a little bit, I'll highlight that a little bit later. Then we also have design thinking, problem solving, another exciting module because, again, you're working with your fellow students, you have to address a certain problem and things come up that you need to change and pivot pivot. I'm sure you're all tired of that word by now. And we take this from a human perspective and really look at the experiences of the people that you are designing whatever your solution for. Strategic management, as in business, you need to understand strategy. What is it particularly? How do you manage this? How do you put a strategic plan in place, and how do you implement that? And then you do research methodology, and you'll see in both qualifications there's a fairly strong emphasis on research. And the reason that we do that is because you need to be able to find relevant and valid data in order to inform your opinions. And I'm sure lately, it seems to be exacerbated for me. People keep saying, oh, this is going to happen. This is what they said. And you say, well, who's they? No one has found it on Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Now, you don't know how valid that data is. Is it really reliable? So we teach you methods of finding out your reliable data and then crafting a report to put your arguments together. Now, this happens on a daily basis where you're writing emails, reports, executive reports, and this is one of the ways that we enable you to craft good, succinct reports. So the module names here, subject names that are in gray, are all those three are common to both qualifications. So you would get those three as exemptions and management accounting and finance part one. So you've already then moving on to your MBA, you've got 4 modules down under your belt, done and dusted. We also then do report writing, a bit of stats and presentation skills to hone you a bit more, to give you exposure to stats in case you need to use that and do, you want to do a quantitative method in your research, and presentation skills because you do that fairly often during your presentation, and it's a good skill to be able to use and hone for work. You start with advanced research methodology. Again, that's where you find your topic for your dissertation. You hone that so that you can find a relevant business issue, hopefully within your organization, that you could try to solve for them. And that's the beginning of your journey on your dissertation. And then we cover areas such as people management, because you need people in order to run a business, whether it's your own business, whether it's in an organization, to get your teams functioning effectively and efficiently. And it's interesting now with remote working, how do we do this? How is it changing in terms of your people management elements? Operations and technology, you need to have your business running, and how are we going to do that? And it's also changed exponentially in the last few years. Marketing and sales management is a staple. You need to be able to market your business. What is the best kind of plan? Looking at digital marketing as well, that is very important and relevant now. And then you also need to sell. How do you actually manage the sales? What happens there? So in your second year, you've already done management, accounting, and finance. So you've got that if you did the postgrad. If you have not done the postgrad and you've come straight onto the MBA, that's when you would be doing your management accounting part one. We do leadership and change management. Leadership is very important. As we know, there's a crisis in leadership worldwide. So what is good leadership? What is ethical leadership? And that then also ties into your business ethics. How do you lead in a authentic, impactful, and agile way? Global trade is economics. We look at what is happening, what is economics, how does it affect your business? Should it affect your business, or is it something that only a few people understand? No, you need to understand that, because decisions you make in your financial aspects are related to economics. Then your dissertation, you start with this. You have a year to complete it. However, you've already started working on it in your business, your research methodology. But here you have a supervisor that's allocated to you. You're expected to be proactive, to work with your supervisor, to really produce a good report that can be used by management with recommendations to management or within the body of knowledge to practically help an organization with an issue. And that's an exciting journey. It's quite difficult, in that you just need to keep working at that. And that's really, you need to be fairly disciplined when you do that. So your topic that you choose needs to be something that you are interested in. And you do management, accounting, and finance part two, which is mainly your corporate finance, so decisions you make from a corporate aspect. Then we finish off with our integrated business strategy, which we are using a simulation, and we started it at the beginning of this year, and it's been a success in that it's a real life problem and simulation, that the decisions that you made are seen and recorded, and then you need to work with that. You also need to do a report and a presentation to people on your summative assessment. And then we have 2 electives. We have business in emerging markets, or you can do entrepreneurship and innovation. Now, entrepreneurship and innovation is extremely important, as we need more entrepreneurs within South Africa, worldwide, to start businesses, to be able to run them properly and effectively in order to help with the economy. So you learn from ideation right the way through to your business plan that you present to a panel again, and they could be venture capitalists, they are entrepreneurs, so they are in the trenches, they know what it takes, and you need to have got all your ducks in a row and do a good business case there. Then business in emerging markets, which I love because it's my module. We focus on the BRICS countries, so it's Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and that's where the international study tour is. So there are some lectures here. Before you go, orientation, you do an assignment that focuses on the specific country that we will be going to. You start getting an idea of what you as a business may want to do in that country, or if you are in an organization, they may want to move into that country. So you do the research to see, could we actually move into doing business in Russia, Brazil, India, or China? And then there's a week study tour where you have the immersion in the country, and you have meetings and workshops with business people, with some academics, and you come back and you need to do your business plan for your organization with covering the cultural aspects, legal frameworks, how you're actually going to do business in that organization. So that's a really, really fun tour. Unfortunately, this year we were going to not China, we were going to Russia. And because of the situation we all find ourselves in, we have not gone this year. However, we will be using that international part of this module next year. So we'll always try and make a plan to make sure. And anyone can do this. Even if you're a postgrad student, you can still do this module if you want. If we are going to China that year and you really want to go to China, you can do the module and you get an exemption for that module. But when the time comes, we'll explain to you how that can work. Right, so just to chat a little bit about our distance learning online, we have a very robust platform. This is self-directed. So you're all living very busy lives. You need to find ways and times that are going to work for you to do your studies. And you have a study timetable, you know exactly what to do when. In our online classrooms, you have a lecturer and 25 students. So your classmates are 25. You get to know them through regular live sessions that you have that are compulsory. Those, we try and put at a time that's not too inconvenient, but they last from an hour, hour and a half. They are compulsory because we have found that that's where a lot of the learning takes place. When you are actually chatting to your lecturer, you can ask questions directly, even though they give you ongoing support through the platform. This is direct. It's like having a lecture online. And so that, in terms of due performance, is where your online engagement forums happen. From next year, we'll be doing everything on MS Teams. So a lot of our students now have moved to MS Teams we used to use Adobe Connect. However, we're moving to Teams, and we're thinking that that's going to be a little bit more of an accessible and good way of doing this. So, and you also have dedicated program managers for both contact learning and distance learning online. They're there to help you. You contact them when you've got an issue, and they can help you, and that's what they're there for. That they manage the program, and they are your go-to people. So before we get to choices, I'd like to ask Cruz Pariache to say a few words to us. He's a current student, a very good student, and to tell us how he's managing, what he's doing, some experiences. And then after Cruz chats a bit, then Dale Peterson, who is one of our alumni, will come on and give you a few tips and hints on how he's managed to do so well, and how he's managed to balance this life, work, study conglomeration that he's gone through. So, Cruz, are you there? Yes, you're there.
Yes,
You want
yes, I'm
to?
here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, thanks to the Milpark staff for giving me this opportunity. I think it's going to be a good experience. Secondly, I apologize for the beanie. I believe it's 174 days since lockdown, but probably 200 days since I've last had a haircut. So I didn't want anyone to think that's the MBA doing this to me. It's just not having a haircut. So yeah, I think it's been an interesting experience. I think I've done the PGD and now I'm on to the MBA. It's been really interesting, and I think this should be viewed as a journey. It's not something that you can. It's more of a lifestyle, in my opinion. It's not something that you cannot live two different lives with the MBA. It's kind of all encompassing. And with journeys, there's a lot of issues you'll experience, perhaps in your private life, with work, and perhaps with Milpark as well. But there's always some solution to the problem, and in my experience, at least, Milpark has been committed in assisting you to find the solution. It may not be the most appropriate or the best solution, but there's always commitment from the staff to work with you and to help you along the journey. In terms of time management, I got to touch on that. There is no time. It's a bit rough, and I think that it is possible. When you look back, you probably wouldn't assume how you got here. It's quite a challenging journey in the sense that with all of these challenges in terms of whatever COVID or time or family, and when you look back, you kind of think like, how did I actually end up doing this? So yeah, the human resolve is quite something to admire as well. And yeah, I think those are the things I'd like to touch upon.
Thanks, Cruz. That's great. Dale, have you also got any insights in terms of how you managed your and Dale did everything distance learning online based in KZN, and yeah, that was also interesting for me that you formed such good partnerships and friendships with some of your group members.
Correct. Yeah. Thanks, Jane. Yeah. So I also went through the PGDBA first, and then onto the MBA. I chose distance learning because I'm married. I've got two young daughters, and I was still then able to kind of be present with them. So my kind of study day would involve finishing work, coming home, at least still being able to put the girls to bed and spend that kind of family time. And then I would either pick it up later on in the evening or kind of in the morning before work. If I woke up early, then I'd get my studies done then. In terms of time management, what I found really helped me was to keep perspective. So even though you've got this 2-year journey as Cruz described it, you do still have these kind of 12-week, I'll say a little sprint that you go through. And in the moment, it can feel like, oh, my life is going to be like this forever. But really, if you can keep that perspective and go, well, I'm midway through. I've only got another 6 weeks to go. It really helps dealing with it kind of psychologically and being able to actually give yourself fully to it in the moment, knowing that it's not going to be forever. June is coming and you're going to have a break, or November is coming and you're going to be able to have that break then. And so to be able to kind of split it up in that way really helped. So, yeah.
And Dale, how did the group work that you did? How did you guys manage that? Because you had a group, someone from Namibia, and was far away. I remember
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So I mean, we were all around. In fact, on the one course, Tracy was in the UK. Guys in Joburg, Sean in Joburg. Guys in Namibia, as you mentioned. And yeah, I mean, you're in a virtual world. We had WhatsApp groups going on. Or we would do, at the time it was kind of Skype sessions periodically. And that's how we kind of managed it using that tooling. But those relationships were really key in my journey. So in the PGDBA phase, I was kind of playing this whole aloof tactic where I was just on this journey on my own, and I'm going to do this thing. And I managed to get through, but my whole kind of philosophy changed in the MBA when I started to build these relationships, and they made a massive difference in my marks. First of all, I think we were challenging each other to achieve the next level. When I saw the other guys were getting the marks they were, and I'm like, okay, I need to up my game, and so we really played off each other in that way. And you help each other. Is your assignment ready? And I'm like, oh, what assignment? Like that kind of thing. And that's how you kind of you keep track of what is actually on the go. It's also important to actually log into the portal regularly. Surprisingly enough, as I said in my PGDBA phase, I would check in there every couple of weeks, and you miss it. You miss a lot of things, but really the engagement with your class and with your lecturer and with your fellow students in those relationships were really a big help for me. So yeah.
Right. Cruz, your idea on group work, how have you managed with it so far?
So I haven't had challenges as Dale has with this global networking, but group work, I think it's something that you have to take as it comes. I've done group work in the context. It's very interesting. You have strong personalities. You have not so strong personalities. Perhaps you find somebody that joins the group at the end of the semester. So you get it's a mixed bag. And I think if everyone kind of keeps the vision that we all are colleagues, we all are adults, we're all here to achieve something together. And if we just keep constant communication, as Dale mentioned, WhatsApp groups is something that's really important. And it's not difficult. If sometimes people have to pick up kids and works late. If you just keep communicating and not being aloof, like what Dale did in his semester, you'd be able to I think you'll be able to get it right. I've heard some bad stories, I've heard some good stories, but I think if you have open communication in the beginning and maintain that throughout your journey, I've had one of the most amazing groups, and we've all had challenges, but if you approach it with the right mindset and if you give structure to your thoughts, I think it can really be favorable.
Good. And just in terms of your being able to apply your knowledge, have you been doing that on an ongoing basis? Have you managed to do that?
Yeah. Interestingly, when I went for the MBA interview, I was asked, why do you want to do the MBA? And my response was, the more you know how much you don't know. So there was all of these things that were happening around the working world that I was totally oblivious to. I didn't realize, because I was coming from an engineering background, and I took for granted, I guess, all of the peripherals that happen. And I really began to engage more, to understand more, and to feel more plugged into the organization. And now that I can add value, and I see that being an MBA candidate or a student holds some credibility in the workplace. You are more involved in processes, and you are given a lot more responsibility, and you kind of respected, if I may, for the lack of a better term. So I have been able to use especially the global trade and economics, those sort of modules help you get a world perspective and a world view, and you are able to critically analyze it. And when I say critically analyze it, I don't mean you're doing a Porter's five forces in your office. I mean that you have those thoughts in your mind. It kind of guides your thinking subconsciously. And I really felt a difference from the way I engage in work before the PGD and MBA, and definitely afterwards as well.
Good to know. Good to know. And Dale, now that you've finished, have you suddenly got so much time you don't know what to do with, or are you thinking about carrying on and doing?
I definitely have more time now. Yeah. So yeah, fill that up now with family time on the weekends, and being able to actually focus a little bit more on your work. Surprisingly, not that you wanted to kind of be unbalanced, but one of the challenges in the kind of study phase is that you're really only giving your daytime, or your whatever your day's length, maybe 8 or 10 hours, whatever that is, to your work. You're not giving any other thought time to it, and that kind of context switching is a real challenge. I used to wake up early, and then get my study work in, and then you're in the shower and off to work, and only when you get to work do you then only realize, like, I haven't thought about this thing, and you're kind of on the back foot constantly, and so the nice part now is being able to, at the end of the day, you can kind of process your work day and kind of prep yourself for the next day. So definitely enjoying that extra time.
Yeah. So it does definitely help, everything, and yeah, to plan and to now be able to give back or put back properly.
100%.
Yeah, is a good thing. Thank you both so much. We really do appreciate you spending a bit of time with us, and some pearls of wisdom there. I'm going to hand over to Kobus now. I hope he's not gone gardening again. And he's going to talk, because he's actually on leave at the moment. And so he's gardening and building things and I don't know what else. But he's going to chat to us if he comes back. I don't know if he's coming back, on why Milpark, why come to us? So Dale and Cruz, thank you so much. Cruz, all the best for the rest of your modules. You're in the home straight now. You're almost
there.
So then you can have a big party when you are done. Hopefully together would be good.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much, and then we'll be in touch. Thank you, Dale. Go well. I hope you're having fun down there.
Yeah, so I'm back, Jane? I'm back from... yeah.
From doing your building.
Yeah, exactly. Cruz and Dale, thank you so much. Awesome. You're part of an institution sharing the product, so to speak, and the benefits of the product and so forth. But it is actually the people who's gone through it, who are in it, that can give their lived experience, and that is so important. We underestimate the power of storytelling very often. So we really appreciate your time as well, and the inputs that you've provided, sharing a bit of your own lived experiences. And I mean, if one sat around a table, and we could have asked more and further and so forth, and I think while you were speaking, Cruz, the analogy of I don't know why, but of a training program, and Dale, you also alluded to to the type of weeks. So often you have either an 8-week training program or a 12-week training program, and sticking with a program week by week, evening by evening, or whenever, especially when you don't feel like it, but you have set a particular goal, a specific objective, whether it's to become fitter or more leaner or whatever, lose weight or whatever it might be, but you've got the goal. And if you want to achieve that goal, you got to stick to the plan. So, and then the results that you see, and I think, when Jane asked you, so, how do you apply this practically? So what was the result? And Cruz referring to, it's not necessarily pulling out a piece of paper and doing Porter's 5 forces, but it's now inculcated in your thinking and the way you approach life. Your view has so much broadened in the way that you see and perceive things. So thank you again so much for that. And colleagues, everybody that attended now, we really value your time as well, taking time out of your busy schedules to come and share some time with us in this virtual space. And maybe just a few thoughts to take away. And I'm not going to take out the violin now and play soft violin music and try to get tears into your eyes. But a few reminders, things that we are very proud of. And as you consider now, who are you going to partner with in your journey for growth and development? And we would be so honored if you decided to be us, and we will welcome you aboard to journey with you as you also develop and grow further. But perhaps the Amber accreditation, Amber accreditation is something that does not come easy. You can ask any one of my team members. We started out this process way back in 2016 already. Because it's not a question of you tick boxes and they say you've got this, you've got that. There's a phenomenal amount of work that goes into it to satisfy them that you meet the criteria. And it's not just submitting the report, they actually come here. You have a site visit by a panel of people where you have to produce evidence of the things that you say you do. So that in itself, and extremely proud of the fact that we were one of very, very few business schools in the world with online MBA Amber accreditation. Now obviously, the whole pandemic has now forced everyone to move into that realm. So the head start that we have in this, we have to maintain, and we will make sure that we do that. But we are very proud of that. And I remember with the PMR, when I started with Milpark Business School back in 2008. In 2009, we were kind of ranked 11th in South Africa. And over these years, as a team, and it's awesome what you can. The team makes the dream, and when we commit, and with our students and our alumni together, collaboratively, building the business school and becoming a prominent player in management education in South Africa and our continent. And so that's a consideration, having been ranked second overall. Our content, we believe, is contemporary, it's relevant. And of course, not only us, but all business schools across the world are sitting around the table, metaphorically speaking, but in team meetings, etc., where we are deliberating this new normal. Even in reviewing the program, curriculum, syllabi, what needs to be in there. We've got a very uncertain future unfolding ahead of us. This remote work, before this pandemic, nothing about remote work and management and leadership theories were really prominent in what happened in an MBA or PG postgraduate diploma classroom. So these things are now becoming part of our reality, and we need to start integrating them. And of course, with you, we are learning together. And I love it, your philosophical approach, Cruz. So like Socrates said, the only thing that I know is that I know nothing. So indeed, what you said, beautiful. I think we must quote that somewhere. The more I get to know, the more I find out how little I know. So if you want to know more about the little you know, please join us on this journey, a wonderful journey. And our facilitators, of course, they come from industry. We require that expertise from the trenches as a metaphor to be drawn into the classroom. And of course, all the students, the peer learning that takes place, that the experiences that you yourself bring from industry, whether it being private or public. And then, what we endeavor to do is to create this learning environment that produces really growth, producing experiences for our students. And that is where the challenge inherently lies in facilitation, lecturing, and so forth, is how do you engage all three modes of learning? And that is because it doesn't help you've only got the head knowledge, but the heart and the hands, so to speak, engaging all three modes of learning, because it's when we do that we learn. The Romans thought that that their children cannot learn anything whilst sitting down, and therefore our program, or like the social responsibility, most of the integrated business strategy, those type of modules are really hands-on, engaging with the real world. So it's besides the head knowledge, but we get our hearts and our hands also involved in the process. And then for us as faculty and adjunct faculty is that our students, they are the focus in our whole learning and teaching transaction. So colleagues, that's just a few thoughts, a few takeaways, a few considerations, which we really hope that would assist you in your own decision making, as you now stand at the cusp of do I jump or do I stand back? And as I said, it would be wonderful and awesome and an honor to have you journey with us. We know that there are many challenges facing us locally, continentally, globally, but it is as a collective, and getting up to the notion of that the common good and what I do, my contribution, what difference can I make in making tomorrow beautiful. That's why we also want to live this notion that tomorrow is beautiful because you and I are going to make it beautiful. I thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless. And if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time.